as we get things started for the fall season. This is actually very exciting for me. I'm Joel McCall. I'll be the voice behind the camera. You probably rarely ever see me, but Chris Soderberg is with us right now. He is the KM Girls Soccer coach. I wish I would have put soccer underneath there. I wrote girls, that's it, but you are the girls soccer coach. Your shirt helps out a lot too, Coach. So thanks a lot for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm very excited to talk with you. Of course, I don't know much about Castle Maryville girls soccer leading up to the season, which actually starts tomorrow. So I know you've done a lot of things prior to the season opener. In fact, you had a scrimmage the other night. How'd things go with that?
Well, we had a couple scrimmages. We had Saturday, we had 3 teams in town, and then last night we had Minnetonka and Rochester Mayo in town. So it's been a busy, extremely busy couple of weeks. We had 2 days all last week, scrimmaging all day Saturday with St. Peter, Rochester Century, and Sartell came down. And then, like I said, the 2 scrimmages last night. So the girls have worked pretty hard this year so far.
What did you learn, especially from last night? Because I'm sure that was probably the most crucial one, is because this is right before a game.
Right. Saturday we still had some JV players on the team trying out for the varsity team. So we had our squad together last night for the first time in a game situation. We were pretty balanced with Mayo. It was back and forth. Both teams had some opportunities. It's always fun to play bigger schools and see where you sit. Then, of course, Minnetonka, the defending state AA champions, were here. We knew that it was going to be tough to even cross the 50-yard line against them. They're just such a solid team. They have 120 kids out for soccer to our 55. So I knew it was going to be a defensive battle. We have a very new, young defense, so it was really a good workout for them. Our girls played extremely well against them. We gave up some goals as expected, but our defense needed work. We saw improvement. They moved really well together, and our goalkeeper really made some fantastic saves. Lizzie Johnson's going to be her first year in varsity goal, and she needed the confidence booster. So
You reading my notes? I got 2 computers over here. You can't see my other computer, I don't think,
No,
but that is
no.
one thing. You do have 4 seniors that graduated from last year's program, is what I had saw, and then that was including your goalkeeper. So that was one of the first things I was going to ask about was Lizzie Johnson. I know she's a sophomore, so what have you seen out of the growth from her, especially from last year as a freshman, not really getting much playing time?
Yeah, she played a few games last year just to get some experience under her belt, and tell you what, her summer, she worked really hard this summer, played a lot of goal this summer, and I've noticed it right away. The confidence level, she's a lot more vocal back there. She knows she's the person in goal for us, and if we're going to go very far, it's going to be on her shoulders, and she's willing to take that on.
Now, I know while we're doing this, you're actually supposed to be at practice. You're coming off of a scrimmage, as you mentioned, Minnetonka kind of beating her up. How was she, though, today as far as her confidence goes leading up to your match tomorrow?
Good. I mean, the girls really pumped her up after the game last night. I mean, that game could have been a lot worse if it wasn't for her. So, she's healthy. She, other than a little bit of road rash on her leg, she's healthy and ready to get the season going.
Yeah, perfect. Then I know you mentioned 55 about your numbers total for the season. That was another question I had. How about your top players back? I don't know your program, so to speak, and it's hard for a guy like me, especially coming in, to find stats because there could be 5 different websites to go through.
Right.
So tell me about some of your top players.
Well, I'll start with the captains. Gwendol is back this year. She tore her ACL in game 1 last year, so she missed the entire season, and she was our center midfielder, probably our strongest player last year. So that hurt losing her, but got some experience for some younger girls coming up. Be nice having her back. She's healthy, and mentally she's almost there and ready to roll for the season. Emma Geary is a returning senior as well. She's another captain who was an HVL conference defender for us last year. And then Olivia Matthias has come back again as a senior captain this year. Will help anchor that defense as well.
Yeah, because you mentioned you have a young defense
We do.
too.
Yeah, we lost 2 different defensive starters and then 2 girls who were the first off the bench last year on defense. So that said, we have 4 sophomores who have been playing varsity since 8th grade. So we're young, but experienced young.
Yeah, which is nice, and
Yeah.
especially when you're talking about so many new people on the back end, with a new goalie. Now you got to intricate some new defensive players. Communication's obviously going to be super important.
It is, yeah. And we do have Macklin Smith back there is probably our most vocal player on the field, and she's back there to help out on defense. And so, and then we've got Elena Gossard, who's a very vocal person as well, coming off the bench. So when she comes off, she brings a level of confidence to the field as well.
Well, let's talk about a little bit of your offense from last year. I looked a couple things up again. It was hard for me to find everything, but I saw you guys were shut out, I think, around 6 or 7 times last year. How about this year, Coach? How are you trying to, gear up that offense and get a few more shots on goal?
Well, yeah, that last year was our lowest goal scoring in probably 15 years. A few years ago, we said we were scoring 50, 60, 70 goals a year. Granted, our schedule the last couple of years has been a lot tougher, but goal scoring has been a little bit harder to come by, especially last year. And that was part of the reason we were below 500 for the first time in, I think, a dozen years. But again, the tough schedule, it has a little bit to do with that as well. But Chella Gonzalez is a senior who I expect to add to that this year. She's got a year of varsity almost 2 years of varsity under her belt. We've got a couple of young kids who aren't afraid to go after it and go at the net. And I tell you, Addie Evans has shown a lot of improvement over the last couple of years too. So I see her confidence level going up and willing to take on that defender one-on-one. So I expect our goal scoring will improve quite a bit. And I hope it does, because I was always an offensive kind of person myself. So I pride ourselves in scoring some goals.
Well, you're going to see the first real outing tomorrow. That would be
Yep.
Thursday, August 22nd. We're going to have the game right here on KM Activities. Tell me about your opponent for tomorrow.
Well, Park High School is another one of those big schools. They have a lot more kids than we do. It's a AA program that's always been strong. Not a state tournament team, but a middle-of-the-road, AA school, which is really nice. We like to play a big school out of conference, out of section, just kind of see where we're at. We have yet to beat them. I think last year we lost by maybe a 3-1 score or 2-0 score. We've come close. We've taken them to overtime. We just haven't beaten them. So we've started 0-1 ever since we've played them for the past, I believe, 6 years now. So maybe we'll turn the tables tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. And then I do want to talk about the Hiawatha Valley Conference. My goodness, last year I looked back at some of the numbers and the wins, and especially the top 3. I mean, you were already mentioning to Brock before we sat down about Lourdes out of Rochester.
Yep.
So you mentioned them, and then Byron and Stewartville. They were all 3 of those were well above 500. Do you
Right.
expect something to that again?
I do. Lourdes and Byron and us have always been the top 3. Stewartville kind of stepped into the mix the last couple of years. They've got a newer coach that's really turned that program around. They've got a lot more numbers there. We usually struggle with them when we play them at their place. They come here this year. I expect us to be in the mix, and I think if we stay healthy and continue to grow as a team, I think we'll be right there. We'll be one of the contenders for the top spot.
Well, then the other thing that I had written down was just kind of your strength. What do you feel as though is your biggest strength heading into the season for the overall team for the girls soccer program?
I would say our strength is really down the middle of the field, I believe. Our better players play in the middle of the field for the most part. It's pretty early to see. Like I said,
Right.
we've got a new mix, and really, one of the slogans the girls put on the back of their shirts this year is, what is it? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And we have some talent, but the hard work is the most important thing. And if we continue to have that hard work, that positive attitude, that's going to make our talent that much better.
Well, I know I'm really looking forward to it, and thank you very much, Coach Soderberg. I'm going to be talking to you a lot. You're going to see text messages, you're going to see emails, but I'm really excited to get the season underway, and it will happen on the 22nd right here on KM Activities. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, that's Chris Soderberg. Then he is the Casa Manorville head coach for girls soccer, and we do want to thank our major sponsor for our interviews, which is KMTEL, and they will be our major sponsor throughout the fall season. So thank you very much to them. And we'll have that game then coming up. It'll be the match on the 22nd. We'll start at around 6:50 right here on KM Activities.